Welcome to Module 4, where we will explore the core requirements of the IATF 16949 standard. This is a key section of the training because it covers the essential expectations that every automotive organization must fulfill to meet IATF 16949. These core requirements go beyond ISO 9001 and are specific to the automotive sector, focusing on risk management, defect prevention, and customer satisfaction. In the upcoming slides, we'll break down important clauses, highlight unique IATF terms like control plan, FMEA, PPAP, and explain how they are integrated into the Quality Management System, QMS. Let's dive into the heart of the standard. Let's begin with Clause 4.1 context of the organization, which sets the foundation for implementing a relevant and effective quality management system, QMS. This clause asks us to take a step back and understand the big picture both internally and externally. Internally, we look at the organization's strengths, weaknesses, infrastructure, resources, culture, and staff competence. Externally, we consider the broader environment, political, economic, technological, social, legal, and environmental trends. This is often analyzed using the PESTLE framework. IATF 16949 builds on ISO 9001 by placing more emphasis on how these issues impact automotive-specific risks, for instance, how climate change may affect sourcing, or how technology upgrades might impact quality. An example: a company that makes electric vehicle batteries must consider external factors like advancements in battery chemistry and internal factors like its own R&D team's skills and lab infrastructure. So essentially, this clause ensures the QMS isn't generic, it's built around what's truly relevant to the business. Understanding the needs and expectations of interested parties, 4.2, organizations must identify who their interested parties are, such as customers, OEMs, Tier 1s, employees, suppliers, regulators, and the local community. These parties can influence or be influenced by the organization. For example, an automotive lighting manufacturer must meet emission regulations for regulators and brightness standards for customers. Determining the scope of the quality management system, 4.3. The organization must clearly define what parts of the business are included in the QMS, such as sites, processes, and products. If anything is excluded, it must be justified. For instance, if a company handles design and manufacturing at its Pune facility, but outsources testing, it must explain how outsourced testing is controlled within the QMS. Quality Management System and its processes, Clause 4.4. This clause focuses on establishing, implementing, maintaining, and continually improving the quality management system, QMS, according to IATF 16949 requirements. The organization must identify all key processes, define how they interact, assign responsibilities, set monitoring methods, and define criteria to measure effectiveness. Example: let's take product design as a process. The organization should document customer requirements as inputs, define design specifications as outputs, assign responsibility to the design team or engineering head, and plan review meetings to monitor progress. Clause 5. Leadership and commitment. This clause emphasizes the importance of top management's active role in the QMS. It's not enough to just assign tasks. Leaders must show real involvement and accountability. Key points: management must take responsibility for QMS effectiveness. They must ensure the quality policy and objectives align with the company's strategic goals. They should promote risk-based thinking and process-oriented approaches. Resources must be provided, and continuous improvement should be encouraged. Leaders must support and guide employees to contribute to QMS success. Example: the CEO regularly reviews customer satisfaction reports and approves budgets for new quality equipment. This shows direct commitment to quality. Clause 5.1.2. Customer focus. Top management has a responsibility to ensure customer needs are consistently met. It's not just about making products, it's about truly understanding and addressing customer expectations. Key points. Leaders must ensure customer requirements are clearly understood and consistently fulfilled. They must manage risks and opportunities that may affect product conformity and customer satisfaction. It's crucial to resolve issues quickly and share feedback with customers transparently. Example: when a major customer complaint arises, the company head personally gets involved, ensuring fast resolution and clear communication of the root cause and corrective actions. Clause 5.2. Establishing the quality policy. Top management must not only create, but also live by a clear and relevant quality policy. This policy sets the direction for the entire quality management system, QMS. It should align with organizational goals, meet stakeholder needs, and drive continual improvement. Example: a company might state, "We commit to delivering zero-defect parts on time, every time." This message must be visible, discussed in meetings, and reinforced regularly. Clause 5.3. Organizational roles, responsibilities, and authorities. It's not enough to assign responsibilities. Informally, they must be clearly defined and communicated. Every team member must know their role in maintaining QMS standards and customer satisfaction. Example: the quality manager ensures QMS compliance, while the production manager ensures production meets quality targets. Organizational charts and job descriptions should make these roles clear. Clause 6.1. Actions to address risks and opportunities. This clause emphasizes proactive planning within the QMS. The idea is to anticipate potential risks and opportunities that can impact product quality, customer satisfaction, or business continuity, and plan accordingly. Key points. Consider issues from Clause 4.1, Context, and 4.2, Interested parties' needs. Identify risks, e.g., supply chain disruptions, process failures, and opportunities, e.g., improved efficiency. Plan and implement actions, evaluate their effectiveness. IATF additions. Specific requirements include risk analysis tools like FMEA, contingency plans, and a focus on preventive action using risk-based thinking. Example: a car battery manufacturer, anticipating raw material shortages due to geopolitical risks, chooses to diversify its supplier base, create strategic reserves, conduct FMEA to identify failure modes, and implement preventive controls. Clause 6.2. Quality objectives and planning to achieve them. Organizations must set quality objectives at appropriate levels, like departments, processes, or teams, that align with the quality policy. These objectives must be measurable, aligned with customer satisfaction and compliance, monitored and updated regularly. Example: the machining department may aim to reduce scrap rate for component X by 15% in 6 months, with steps like operator training and machine optimization. Clause 6.3. Planning of changes. Any changes to the QMS, such as new technology or process updates, must be planned systematically. This includes considering purpose and consequences of the change, impact on QMS integrity, resource availability, assignment of responsibilities. Example: when adding an automated welding robot, the organization must plan for installation, programming, training, maintenance, and risk updates before launching it. In this clause, We focus on the essential resources required to run the quality management system effectively. It's not just about machines or buildings, it's about the right people with the right skills and the right environment. First, we ensure we have the necessary people. Then, infrastructure like buildings, utilities, and transportation comes into play. The working environment must be physically and mentally safe, with appropriate lighting, noise control, and inclusivity. Next is the importance of properly calibrated and maintained measuring tools. Lastly, we must preserve organizational knowledge, everything the company knows that helps maintain process quality. For example, if we invest in a CNC machine, we also need trained operators, a controlled environment, and calibrated tools to ensure the parts we produce meet the required quality. This clause focuses on ensuring that everyone involved in activities that affect the quality management system is competent. That means we must first identify what skills or knowledge are necessary for a role. Then, we ensure people have that competence, either through education, training, or experience. It's also important to take corrective actions when competence is lacking, and to evaluate whether those actions worked. IATF goes further by specifically requiring competence in key roles like internal auditors, manufacturing personnel, and those responsible for product safety. For example, new welders must go through certification and regular evaluations to meet strict standards, especially in critical areas like automotive chassis manufacturing. Now we move to two important areas: awareness and communication. Under awareness, it's essential that every employee understands the organization's quality policy, goals, and how their daily work impacts quality. They should also know what happens if they don't follow QMS rules. For instance, toolbox talks and posters help reinforce this regularly. Next is communication. We need to define how communication happens inside and outside the organization regarding the QMS. That includes what is communicated, when, how, and by whom. A good example is having a process for customer complaints to reach the right team quickly, or holding regular meetings between design and manufacturing teams to align on product specs. Now we will talk about documented information, which is covered under Clause 7.5. This means all the documents that are required by the standard and are necessary for the effective functioning of the quality management system, QMS, such as procedures, work instructions, and records. This includes creating, updating, controlling, and retaining those documents. For example, if you have an assembly line, there should be controlled work instructions for every step. Only the latest version should be used, and inspection results should be recorded and stored to ensure traceability. This ensures that work is done according to standard, with no confusion or errors. Now let's talk about Clause 8, which is the heart of the QMS. It covers the entire product realization process, from the customer's inquiry to the final delivery and even post-delivery activities. It includes key automotive-specific requirements. First, we have operational planning and control, 8.1. This means planning, implementing, and controlling all the necessary processes to ensure that the products and services meet customer requirements. Then, Clause 8.2 covers requirements for products and services. This includes proper communication with customers, understanding and documenting customer-specific, statutory, and regulatory requirements, and reviewing those requirements thoroughly. Example: before accepting an order for a car door panel, the manufacturer must confirm all specs with the OEM, including the material, color, dimensions, and testing standards. Let's now talk about Clause 8.3, Design and Development of Products and Services. This covers planning, inputs, controls like design reviews, verification, validation, outputs, and change management. IATF 16949 adds special requirements such as APQP, Advanced Product Quality Planning, Design FMEA, Failure Mode and Effects Analysis, Feasibility Studies, and Specific Design Review Outcomes. Example: a team uses APQP to plan the design of a new car seat. They conduct a design FMEA to identify potential failures and prepare a control plan before starting production. Now, moving to Clause 8.4. Control of externally provided processes, products, and services. This ensures that suppliers meet the quality requirements. IATF adds strict rules for selecting suppliers, developing them, monitoring performance, and ensuring they comply with IATF 16949. Example: an OEM requires all Tier 1 suppliers to be IATF certified. Then, those Tier 1 suppliers must make sure their key Tier 2 suppliers are also certified or audited regularly to ensure compliance. Now let's discuss Clause 8.5, Production and Service Provision. This clause ensures proper control over production and service activities. This includes controlled conditions, validated processes, clearly written work instructions, proper equipment and measurements, clear identification and traceability of components, handling of customer or external property, preservation of materials and components, managing post-delivery activities, proper change control process. IATF also adds several specific requirements: POCA yoke, error-proofing methods, TPM, total productive maintenance, use of standard work procedures, production control, and job setup verification. Example: in an assembly line, every part is barcoded to maintain traceability. Operators follow clear work instructions. POCA yoke fixtures ensure the parts are assembled correctly. Equipment is maintained as per ATPM plan. Let's now move to Clause 8.6 and 8.7. Clause 8.6, Release of Products and Services. Before any product or service is released to the customer, it must meet all the defined requirements. IATF introduces the PPAP, Production Part Approval Process, requirement for this. Example: before a new car part is shipped to the OEM, a full PPAP is submitted and approved. This confirms that all design and production criteria are met. Clause 8.7. Control of non-conforming outputs. This is about identifying, controlling, and preventing the unintended use or delivery of defective products. This includes steps like corrective actions, customer notification, and concessions. Example: a batch of brake pads fails inspection. It's tagged non-conforming, isolated, and root cause analysis is done. Once corrective actions are taken, only the good parts are released. Let's now look at Clause 9. Performance Evaluation. This clause focuses on measuring, monitoring, analyzing, and evaluating the performance of the Quality Management System, QMS, to make sure it's working effectively and to find areas for improvement. Clause 9.1. Monitoring, measurement, analysis, and evaluation. It defines what should be measured, how and when, who is responsible, and how the results are analyzed. Under Clause 9.1.2, customer satisfaction must be regularly measured using key performance indicators. Clause 9.1.3 focuses on analyzing this data to evaluate how effective the QMS is. IATF adds requirements for manufacturing process capability studies, internal audits, performance monitoring. Example: a company might analyze customer complaints, warranty claims, and delivery issues monthly to assess satisfaction. They may also use SPC, statistical process control charts, to monitor things like temperature or pressure during production to evaluate process capability. Now let's understand Clause 9.2, Internal Audit. This clause ensures that organizations regularly conduct internal audits to check if their quality management system, QMS, meets IATF 16949 and organizational requirements, is effectively implemented and maintained. Key IATF requirements. Internal audits must be conducted at planned intervals. IATF requires 3 types of audits: QMS audits, manufacturing process audits, product audits. These audits must use a process approach and be conducted by competent auditors. Example: an annual internal audit plan might include a QMS audit, verifying overall clause compliance, a process audit, such as auditing a welding line, a product audit, for example, inspecting a car door against specifications. Let's now look at Clause 9.3. Management Review. Top management must conduct regular reviews of the quality management system, QMS, to ensure it remains suitable, adequate, effective, align with the organization's strategic direction. What are the inputs and outputs? Inputs include customer satisfaction trends, audit results, process performance, nonconformities, etc. Outputs include decisions and actions for continual improvement, identification of resource needs. Example: in the annual management review meeting, leadership reviews the past year's QMS performance, allocates budget, resources for training programs, sets new quality objectives for the upcoming year. Now let's move on to Clause 10, which is all about improvement and continual improvement. This clause emphasizes actions to improve the quality management system, QMS, address nonconformities, take corrective actions, and drive continuous improvement. Clause 10.1. General, the organization must identify opportunities for improvement, take necessary actions to enhance customer satisfaction and meet requirements. Clause 10.2. Nonconformity and corrective action. Whenever a nonconformity occurs, like a customer complaint, the organization must control, correct, and eliminate the root cause. This involves investigating the issue, applying problem-solving techniques, e.g., 8D method, taking action to avoid recurrence, reviewing effectiveness. IATF also expects use of error-proofing methods, analysis of warranty claims, use of structured root cause analysis. Example: if a batch of parts is out of tolerance, the team uses an 8D problem-solving approach, identifies worn tooling as the root cause, replaces the tooling, checks if the solution works, updates the maintenance plan to prevent recurrence. Now let's explore Clause 10.3, which focuses specifically on continual improvement. Organizations are expected to continually enhance the suitability, adequacy, and effectiveness of the quality management system, QMS. How is this achieved? By using tools such as the quality policy, defined objectives, audit results, data analysis, corrective actions, and management reviews. IATF's emphasis? IATF 16949 adds a special focus on using manufacturing process improvement tools and methodologies to drive improvement. Example: let's say the engineering team notices a trend in process data. They find an opportunity to optimize a welding parameter. This leads to a 5% reduction in scrap rate over time. This continuous effort to tweak and enhance processes is what we call continual improvement. Now we'll talk about Clause 4.8, Risk-Based Thinking and Preventive Actions, which is a core concept in IATF 16949. Risk-based thinking means identifying and addressing potential risks and opportunities before they impact product quality or customer satisfaction. This approach ensures that the QMS is not only reactive but proactive. Earlier, preventive actions were treated as a separate clause, but now they are integrated throughout the standard. The core idea is, don't wait for a problem to happen instead. anticipate it, prepare for it, and act in advance. This helps organizations avoid disruptions and seize improvement opportunities. In IATF 16949, this concept is reflected in Clause 4, which talks about understanding the organization's context, like internal and external issues, to identify risks and opportunities, and Clause 5, where leadership is responsible for addressing risks that can impact quality or compliance. Let's now explore how risk-based thinking appears in different clauses of IATF 16949. Clause 6, Planning. This is where organizations plan actions to handle risks and opportunities. It specifically includes risk analysis. 6.1.2.1. Organizations need to use tools like FMEA, both design and process FMEA, to analyze risks during planning. Contingency plans. 6.1.2.3. This involves preparing for possible disruptions like machine breakdowns, labor shortages, or natural disasters. Clause 8. Operation. Risk-based thinking is applied in daily operations, especially in design, development planning, control plans, and preventive maintenance. Clause 9. Performance evaluation. Monitoring and measuring activities are connected to identified risks. Audit results are used to refine the risk analysis. Clause 10. Improvement. Here, corrective actions taken due to nonconformities are used to guide future risk assessments and improvements. This slide explains an important shift in IATF 16949. Earlier, preventive action used to be a separate clause, but now the idea of prevention is fully integrated throughout the QMS via risk-based thinking. By identifying and acting on risks early, you are already taking preventive action, so it's no longer treated separately. Now, let's look at the key tools used in this process. Risk analysis. 6.1.2.1. Organizations must include risk analysis during planning using tools like FMEA, Design and Process FMEA, Contingency FMEA. This is a method to analyze failure modes, evaluate severity, likelihood, and detectability, and take action to reduce risk. Control plan. It documents all the controls needed to maintain product and process characteristics, using outputs from FMEA and other tools. Contingency plan. This outlines actions for handling unexpected but predictable events, like breakdowns or labor shortages. Clause 6.1.2.3 specifically requires planning for disruptions, such as equipment failures, manpower issues, or natural disasters. This section introduces a unique and critical element of IATF 16949, the Customer-Specific Requirements, or CSRS. Unlike ISO 9001, which broadly addresses customer needs, IATF 16949 makes CSRS mandatory and much more detailed. Definition. CSRs are additional requirements defined by individual customers, mostly OEMs in the automotive sector, that go beyond the general standard. These are meant to flow down through the supply chain and can include specific instructions based on customer products, processes, or even corporate culture. Why it matters. Compliance with CSRs is not optional. For IATF 16949 certification, meeting all applicable CSRS is mandatory. During audits, it's not enough to show compliance with the standard. The auditors will also check if CSRs have been implemented. Now that we've understood what customer-specific requirements, CSRs, are, let's look at some common examples you might come across in the automotive industry. These requirements vary from customer to customer, but often include packaging requirements, like using returnable containers or applying specific labels. PPAP submission processes, where the customer may ask you to submit documents through a specific online portal. preferred software or tools such as mandatory use of a certain FMEA or SPC methodology, internal audit guidelines specifying how often audits should be done or what areas to focus on, supplier management expectations detailing how to select and monitor suppliers, special templates for reporting quality metrics, rules for handling non-conforming products, including approval processes, warranty or field failure policies, covering how to manage warranty claims or perform root cause analysis. These examples show how detailed and customized CSRs can be, and why it's important to identify and comply with each customer's specific needs. This slide explains where CSRs are located in the IATF 16949 standard and why they are so critical. First, Clause 4.3.2 directly mentions customer-specific requirements. It says that CSRs must be evaluated as part of the QMS scope. Then, Clause 8.2.2.1 talks about customer-designated special characteristics, which must be controlled as per the customer's critical requirements. Apart from these, CSRs are referenced indirectly in many other clauses, like those related to design, production, and supplier management. Next, let's talk about a key challenge. Many suppliers serve multiple OEMs, each with their own unique CSRs. Managing all these CSRs at once can be complex, so a proper system is needed to identify, implement, and stay compliant. Finally, the importance. Ignoring or misunderstanding CSRs is one of the most common reasons for audit nonconformities. So, every organization must build a strong internal process to identify, review, communicate, and implement these requirements efficiently. This slide gives us a practical example to understand the complexity of customer-specific requirements, CSRs. Let's take a Tier 1 supplier, like a bumper manufacturer, who supplies to both Maruti Suzuki and Hyundai. According to IATF 16949, they need to submit a PPAP, Production Part Approval Process, for any new parts. Now, let's look at the CSR from Maruti Suzuki. They might ask for submissions to be made via their online supplier portal, documents to be in a specific format, a 100% inspection report for all critical dimensions. On the other hand, Hyundai's CSR might require a hard copy binder of the PPAP, a specific FMEA template, and instead of 100% inspection, only a statistical report for critical dimensions. So, even though both customers ask for PPAP, their CSRs differ significantly. The key point here is that the supplier must comply with both the IATF standard and each customer's specific requirements. That means their QMS must be flexible and dynamic enough to handle such variations.